Welcome back to the Herfador Lounge, where the smoke's rich, the conversation's real, and we dive into the minds behind the moments that matter. I'm your host, Ray, of course, lighting one up and chilling with great people who are building legacies, one puff at a time. Today, I've got someone special in the lounge with me, Miss Vicky Lee, owner of JLW Cigars. A new name in the game, but trust me, she's already making bold moves. We're talking passion, hustle, and that first spark that made us say, yeah, I'm gonna do this my way. If you're digging a story and the soul behind her blend, then get you one. But also sit back, spark up, pour up, and let's get into it. Yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. How you been?
I've been great. I've been great. I have
Well,
been
that's
great.
good. That's good. That's good. So first, I want to get into your introduction into cigars. So, do you remember the first cigar you smoked?
Oh, yes, it was. As far as the name, I don't remember, but I
Hmm.
do remember it was about mm, 4 years ago.
Ah, so that's fairly
Yeah.
recent. Fairly recent. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What
Yeah.
was that experience like?
It was actually a pretty cool experience, even with like smoking cigars. I'll be honest, I've never ever smoked my first time ever smoking was 4 years ago. So I've never actually ever smoked. So actually experiencing a cigar for the first time, it was I liked the way that I was able to have the conversations and have a drink at the same time. I kind of just like the whole feel of
Mhm.
smoking a cigar and sitting back in a lounge, just getting to know people and connecting with people that way.
Right.
So I continued with it. So yeah, it was a great experience.
Was your first cigar one of the sweet tip, the flavored ones, the infused ones?
Yes,
Ah,
yes. I
okay.
I want
Okay.
to say that it was maybe like a blueberry flavored
Hmm.
cigar, and it was the smaller ones. It was honestly the smaller ones. To even
Hmm.
see that I'm doing like the robusto now,
Yeah.
back then I wasn't into the bigger ones.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, so I've graduated. So I've
So
graduated.
okay, so you're on to traditional cigars, I guess now.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So when you're not thinking about blends and packaging, what kind of vibe are you chasing when you light up a cigar for yourself?
Honestly, a lot of the times when I am by myself, sometimes you just honestly it helps you to just relax.
Hmm.
um Sometimes I've had a long day and you kind of just want to be able to just chill by yourself, so
Right.
you just light up a cigar, have a cognac, and just chill. So
Right. Right.
some of them are of course some of them are stronger than others. So
Mhm.
um yeah, so pretty much if I've had, and I've done it several times, just come out either on my patio or outside somewhere. Sometimes you can also go into a lounge where you just want to kind of just chill by yourself and just
Right.
smoke a cigar. It's very, to me, and I can speak for myself, it's very soothing, it's very relaxing.
Yeah, yeah, I do. I find that when I smoke cigars, it forces me to slow down, you know, because you can't smoke it fast, you can't light it fast, you can't cut it fast. So you really have to slow down, and then it allows me to sit back and just think while I'm smoking the cigar. Um,
Absolutely.
so tell me the story behind your brand and what inspired you to step into the cigar world.
Um, I'll tell you that so my brand, and if you know people out there, you get a chance to actually look at the logo. JLW actually just originates from my family last names. These are just the initials of about three last names. The picture actually on my cigar is actually of my granddad.
Oh wow.
Um, so my granddad, I will say that I'll tell you the reason why I even chose my granddad. Honestly, I'll be honest, I've never met my granddad.
Hmm.
Um, Actually, none of us have, but my granddad is the reason why I'm here. My mom's here, family is here. So, how I connect that with even with the cigar world, I'll be honest. I have been in the cigar world like for some years now. I've met some great people. I'm still friends with those people. A lot of those people have actually given me advice, continues to give me advice when it comes to the cigar world, and that is why I'm actually here today because of the cigar community. So
Hmm.
actually to connect my granddad and the cigar world together, I thought it was a great combination because when you're smoking a cigar and you connecting with people, that's the whole purpose of smoking a cigar. You're lounging, you're connecting with people, you're meeting people that you probably have never met before, and you're connecting, you're socializing, and it's a great statement piece to socialize with.
Definitely,
So
definitely.
yeah, so that I and you know, honestly, my granddad smoked the pipes and he also smoked
Ah,
cigars. That yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, he smoked the pipes and he smoked the pipes a lot and he also smoked the cigars. I honestly I learned a lot about my granddad over the years through my family.
Hmm.
Um unfortunately, like I said, he passed away before any of us were born. So we learned about things that he did with um, from my family.
Right, right.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that would be the reason why. Honestly, I felt like I just wanted to connect my family when it comes to the cigar business.
yeah. That's a great way to connect them, to have the last names and your granddad to be the name and the logo. That's a great way to bring it all in and bring it close and bring it back to the family and to to build on that connection that everybody who smokes cigars has with the
Right,
love of the leaf. You know.
right.
Um. So, how long have you been in business?
I have been in business. I say I started this honestly. I started this last year.
Uh huh. Okay.
So I can't I would say at least a year now.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like my cigars are recently they are recently just coming out not too long ago. So yeah, so just getting my feet wet.
Right. Right. Just getting your feet wet. So, what was the caveat to get you to actually start your cigar brand?
So I've always had an entrepreneurship mindset.
Hmm.
So honestly, I thought about getting into, more into the business and thought about selling, having events and selling cigars. But then I said, well, if I want to sell cigars, I might as well just sell my own cigars. So
Makes sense.
honestly, yeah. So how how it even originated, a lot of research. I've had to go through a lot of different steps. Some fail, but you learn from those failed mistakes, and that's how you
Right. Right.
continue to be where you are. I'll be honest. I reached out to a person that actually probably had well, actually, they have their own brand. Um, and at the time, I think that maybe he was maybe a little bit busy, had a lot of things going on, which is understandable.
Hmm.
And I honestly said at that time, I'm going to have to pull back because this is something that I'm passionate about. This is something that I really want to do. And I know that my passion may not be your passion. Um,
Right.
so I said at that time, but I'll be back. I just need to
Right.
do some research and do a little bit more research. And here I am today with all of that research and getting advice from other people. So
Right. Right. Brought
that's where I
everything
am
to
today.
fruition.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all here. It's all here. So,
Right.
being such a new brand, it's the cigar world is full of legacy brands and
Right.
huge names and people, a lot of there's boutique brands that a lot of people know about, and sometimes people when they hear, oh, you're a new brand, they kind of standoffish a little bit. How has the reception been for you?
About like that. And I wouldn't say honestly standoffish, but I will say that a lot of the, that are the lounges that I do go into, that's the first thing that they will mention is the bigger name cigars.
Hmm.
Um, so of course you have competition with that type of thing. Because of the community that you're in, we do embrace a lot of things because of our, the cultural community.
Right.
So with that sense, a lot of people are willing to be supportive in that type of thing.
Right.
Um, so yeah, they do. A lot of people do talk about the bigger names, but also, I have to say that sometimes if you're concentrated on the bigger brands, then of course the up and new people, um, they don't necessarily would. You really got to be out here
Yeah.
grinding and
Yeah.
hustling and getting things out there because that's what's standing out at this point. The bigger brands.
Right. Right. The bigger brands definitely stand out more because I mean the recognition, you know. Um, but that look, there are a lot of these boutique brands that are hustling, that are getting
Right.
out there, and I mean that's what you got to do. You got to get that brand recognition out there. You got to get it out there.
Yeah.
So how many blends do you offer?
I have two currently.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Maduro and I also have a Canadian Habano sweet tip
Okay, okay. So
cigar.
the sweet tip. So you had to go back to your roots of the sweets infused cigars
Yeah.
from the
But
beginning.
this one honestly is not, I wouldn't say that it's kind of totally infused.
Hmm. It's just a sweet tip.
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
it. But sometimes, and I had a great person to kind of the person that I ultimately ended up with was very very resourceful and honestly amazing. Um, because he was able to educate me with this sort of thing that would probably be better to come out with two
Hmm.
different blends versus one because at the end of the day not everybody is into Maduro. Some people like a sweet tip cigar.
Right,
um
right,
so which has been beneficial because I can offer more than one.
right, right. I'm more partial to the Maduros myself. I like my
Right.
cigars to have some oomph to them, you know.
Yeah, I get it. Yep, I get it. I'm a Maduro person too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now after the sweet tip, after the infused, now you Maduro. Now, okay,
Right,
okay.
right. Because but that's the whole purpose of you smoking the cigars. I that's what helped me to realize. I'm not necessarily into the sweet cigars.
Hmm.
So I'm not saying that I'm totally against it. I'm just not a fan. I would like the um less sweet tip more.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I'm not a fan of sweet or the infused cigars either. A sweet tip isn't bad, but the infused cigars, I'm not really a fan of those too much. Uh, I don't know. It's just it mess up my whiskey, you know. It mess up the
That
whiskey, so I can't
you
really.
like what you like though.
Right, 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 right. If look, if you like the infused, then that's that more power to you. You know,
Right.
smoke what you like. That's what I say. Smoke what you like. Um, so in the space with both legacy brands and bold newcomers, how are you carving out your own lane and connecting with your audience?
Honestly, promoting.
Hmm.
I'm not shying away from anything. Uh, Traveling, honestly, I'm traveling out to different cities, different states, promoting my cigar, doing interviews, podcasts. So, I mean, you got to get out there. You got to get, your name out there. You got to, I'm connecting in places and people, of course, don't know who I am, don't know anything
Right,
about my
right,
cigar. So, how else would you get people to know about your cigars? You got to get out there. You got to promote. That is one of the things. Honestly, when I got my cigars, 2 hours after I got my cigars, I was in a lounge promoting my cigar. That's
wow.
how that's how serious I am about. promoting it and making sure that people know about it, getting it out there. Because at the end of the day, if I just hold on to it and, you know, the best market is word of mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Best market is word of mouth. But of course, um, there are a lot of things that you got to make sure you put in place, of course, websites and all of that kind of stuff, but definitely
Mhm.
getting out there promoting.
Yeah, that word of mouth thing is powerful because it's gonna hit the ears that it needs to hit, you know.
Right,
And it's gonna reach lounges that you haven't reached yet. You know, people will be sitting, hey, y'all got JLW cigars? What's that? And now
right,
when you in there, they're gonna say, oh, okay, that's what that is. Let me try it. You know, that's
right.
the best promotion for brand new brands is word of mouth.
I'll
So
tell you one thing
oh, go ahead.
before I'm sorry, before you say that. So as far as that, what you just said, Friday, I would say just this past weekend, I went back out to a lounge and one of the lounges that actually, had my cigars there. And there was a consumer that was actually there. And the people that there that kind of just, runs the Herfadors
Hmm.
actually let that person know that, hey, I'm that person of the cigar that they smoked. That was my cigar. And she actually came over and told me that she liked my cigar. So yeah, so
Yeah,
that sort of
you
thing
got
is
your
always
little
that's refreshing to
right,
hear.
right. You got it refreshing.
Right.
You walk a little, they like my cigar.
Right. So yeah, so I'm like,
Those
okay, well that's
reviews,
good to know.
yeah, those reviews getting back to you, those personal reviews are always good to know that people like something that you put time and work into. It all
Right.
and it helps you keep going. And it
It
might
does.
makes up for the few people who might say, oh, I don't like it. Well, it's just not for you. But they like it. So they're gonna
Right.
buy two, three more because they like it. You know. Um,
Right.
so that's always a good thing when people let you know that they like it. So speaking of lounges, because you said you were in the lounge, going back to a lounge, so I'm assuming you were checking inventory. Um, what's that process like of getting lounges to carry your blends? Was it easy, or was it did you have to do a little wiggling or pushing?
Um, honestly, I will say that it's not. Um, it hasn't been bad. I will
Hmm.
say that there are a couple of lounges that I've been into that wasn't necessarily interested, but that's fine. But these people also gave me information that has been resourceful. But going out there promoting, of course, letting them sample your cigars and
Hmm.
just connecting with those people, and they're making that ultimate decision. Say, hey, yeah, I'm going to do what I need to do to make sure that I support you in this business, and putting their cigars out, putting my cigars out on their shelves. So
Right.
I wouldn't
Right.
say it has been hard, but of course, one thing that I do, like I say, I go back to these places where I've been, and I go back and I see, ask them how it's been. Are they interested in putting more out? So yeah, so that's the process. Because you honestly, you got to keep going at it. That's the thing. That is what I'm having to do. I'm continuing to learn that you got to just be consistent with it.
Yeah, yeah, you got to be consistent, but it's also good to keep that relationship open, that they see you coming into the shop, they see you looking at the inventory, they see you talking to the customers, because that'll get them more inclined to keep buying. You know,
Right.
the customers will keep buying because they see you there and they feel like they know you, and the shop will keep buying because they see you there and they're like, okay, yeah, she really cares about this. This is something she's putting
Mm-hmm.
that work in. She's putting the work
Right.
in and she's here. So that's one of the things that I always thought, right? When you have a cigar brand, I always figured best way the best way to make sure that this lounge is going to carry your cigars is to do a cut and light first.
Mm-hmm.
and let people, you know, see the cigar, smoke the cigar. Obviously, buy it to smoke it, but smoke the cigar,
Right.
and then when you finish the cutting light, just leave
Right.
because
You're
people are gonna look for the cigar later on.
right. You're
Hey,
absolutely
the
right.
person that was here with the cutting light, the JLW cigars, where they at? I don't see them. Uh, you know what they're gonna say? Well, they're not in yet. They're not in yet, and then they're gonna call you.
Right.
And say, yeah, we need to get
Right.
some of them cigars in there. I just don't understand why. You know, the cold calling works, right?
Uh,
Going to the lounge and letting them taste it, it works. But I just think that when you
doing
do
events.
that,
Right.
you're not you're not ensuring that prime humidor real estate. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they might put you knee level, they might put you up a little bit, but you want to be right eye level so people
I
walk in
level.
and they see it. You
Right.
know, and if folks is asking about it, they're gonna definitely buy it.
Right. Right.
You know,
Right. You're absolutely
definitely.
right. That you're right on the money. You're
Have you done
right
any
on.
cutting lights yet?
I'm working on one this weekend. So yeah, that is one of the things. Actually, trying to host the event. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm circling back to a lot of these places that I went to make sure I actually do events in these lounges. So yeah, and even other lounges. Yeah, events are definitely a big part of it.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
hosting these types of events. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think those types of events because they people like when they can connect. You know,
Right.
when there's they feel a connection to something, then there you have a customer for life. I feel that's like with anything. You know, some people you have a connection because say your uncle smoked these cigars and you smoked one with him and now he's gone, but these are now your favorite cigars, so you're gonna buy it whenever you see. You know, people have connections like that, and I think
Hmm.
it's good to be able to let people connect with you as the owner. Um, and hear the story and things like that. So speaking of that, every cigar tells a story, right?
Hmm.
So what do you hope that people feel or experience the first time that they smoke your cigar?
Um, richness,
Mm,
smoothness, and that's the whole purpose of my even with my cigar. Even when we talked about the blend of my cigar, definitely wanted it to be something smooth,
mhm.
just something that you can relax to. Your go-to cigar, like you can smoke, you can't. Well, some people probably can smoke a bowl cigar every day. I can't really smoke a bowl cigar every day.
I've I've gone 8 cigars deep in an evening.
You
In an
look,
evening.
you need to relax with a JLW cigar. That's one of them smooth cigars that just go, hey, mellow you out.
I just need one and that's it.
Just to mellow you out.
Right.
Yes, so that's what I will hope. Honestly, had a couple of people to try. Even I try. I pretty much smoke one of these cigars at least every other day. It is
Mhm.
an everyday cigar. One of those cigars that you're out on the golf course and you just want to, you just need it. A cigar to just relax with. Of course, if you're looking for more of a buzz, right now, I wouldn't say I have the bold blends right now. That is definitely that's coming,
Mhm.
but yeah, um, definitely something that they can just say, hey, this is really nice that I can smoke this every day if I wanted to, and not necessarily
Right.
something that's smooth, rich, a little bit of boldness to it. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, something that you can just light up and enjoy and sit and
Right.
let the day pass you by.
Right. Take that. Just don't just let it just relax you.
Right.
That's what I
Right.
want. To just have something to just relax your mind.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because look. This day and age, especially right now, we need some. We need to relax.
Listen, I do. I look. I work in. Have worked in mental health, so I definitely get
Oh,
it. You need it.
yeah, yeah,
You
definitely,
definitely need
definitely.
it. Yeah, this is a whole different world. You need other ways to, relax and just unwind after a long day. So yeah, I want to be a
Yes.
part of that. I want to be a part of making people happy and
Oh, well, you
relax.
on your way. I was
Yeah,
doing my little research. You in about 8, 9 lounges. You on your way.
I'm trying.
Yeah, you
I'm
on
trying
your
to get.
way.
I'm trying to make sure a lot of people know about this in all of the states.
Well,
So
they
but
will.
hey,
They definitely will. You
yeah.
putting in the work, people gonna definitely know about it all
Well,
over
yeah,
the
yep.
place.
Got to put in the work. Yep, you're
Definitely
right
got to
about
put
that.
in the work. So being a newer brand, you know, you were on the consumer side for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're on the provider side, I guess. I don't know what you
Supply,
call
yeah.
it. Product side, provider side, the other side
Right.
of the fence, right? Um,
Right.
so what's one thing about the cigar industry that surprised you once you got behind the scenes, so to speak?
Um, let me think. What I've learned is like bottom shelf, top shelf.
Hmm. Hmm.
Definitely have learned that sort of thing. Like, hey, there's a process of going. You start out on the bottom. You got to
Right.
work your way up to the top. So I'm like,
Exactly.
okay, what I need to do to work my way up to the top? So yeah, so yeah, you gotta put in the work to get to the top. You ain't coming in getting in on the top.
Right.
We're gonna
Right.
start out at the bottom,
But one
and
of
you
them
gotta
things
work your
that you
way up.
do when going into the lounges and letting them see you and checking on a regular basis, then they say, okay, well, they ain't never came in the lounge. Let's move them down. Let's stick
Right.
you up here. They want to help you scratch quid pro quo.
Look, I need you in these lounges. Say, hey, listen, has this guy ever been to you and sat down with you and talked with you and smoked with
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, he ain't sat down and talked to you. He don't know what school your kids go to. All he did was send you a box and said, "Try these out." That's all
Right.
he did.
Yes.
Go on, move him down,
Right.
move him down
Right.
the shelf, move him down the shelf.
I
You
was
good?
like, listen, I'm not I'm not a big name person. So yeah, I'm gonna have to work that much harder. But yeah,
You
but
getting
that's
there?
okay though.
What else you can do is just have people go into lounges that you ain't been to and just have them ask, "Hey, y'all
Yeah.
got JLW cigars?" JLW, and they gonna say JLW. No,
Listen, that's why I
no.
post the lounges. I post the lounges on my social media. Go out there and go to these places and ask for this cigar.
Yeah,
I
go
need for
ask.
you to go and try
Whether
this
we
cigar
got it,
out.
whether they got it or not. If they don't have it, still go in and ask for
Right.
them.
Yes. I need for you to get out there.
They
Hey,
get about six,
listen.
7 people asking for them. Guess what? They gonna find
Right.
you.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm posting the lounges on my social media. Hey, go to these lounges. Yes. And these, at the end of the day, there are lounges, cigar lounges all over the place.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and then these lounges that I'm going into, great lounges. Very, very nice and like you can just like really connect in these lounges that I've honestly never heard of and probably never known that they existed unless I went
Hmm.
in there. But of course, you posting this stuff out here on social media. A lot of people probably didn't know about these cigar lounges either.
And they want to
So
try them out.
yeah, so I know that I'm in an area where there are a lot of cigar lounges, but at the end of the day, cigar lounges are all over the place.
Yeah, I know here in Houston, I can stand on top of my house and throw a rock in any direction and hit about 6 of them because they are everywhere. But the good
Everywhere.
thing is they all have different selections. You know,
Hmm.
there's one that's got just about everything you can think of.
Oh,
Then they have the ones that only have what the owner likes. Then they have the ones that have their own all their own brands. I mean, there
right.
are so many different lounges, and they all have different selections. So you got to go to all of them because You never know. Your brand might be the perfect one. They might be looking for somebody for that eye level slot, and you just walk
Right.
in there and you say good morning, and they was having a bad day, and now guess what? You right there at the eye level slot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get there. We're gonna remember this day right here. You go
Oh
like, you
yeah.
know
Oh
what?
yeah. We talking about it right now because it's gonna happen.
We're
Eye
gonna
level
remember this
all over the
day.
country.
Yes. That is
So
actually what I'm hoping. Mm-hmm.
ain't no hope. It's gonna happen. You putting in the work, so it's gonna happen. You ain't even gotta say all the hope. It's gonna happen. I mean, you putting the work in. And
Yeah.
when you put the work in, the results follow. You
Right.
know.
You're absolutely right. 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 You're absolutely right. I heard this one quote the other day and it just stood out to me is about um you don't have to be great to start anything, but of course, once you start to be great at it.
Yeah,
So I think that is absolutely the best, thing, because at the end of the day, no, I wasn't, starting out, you're not great at it. But of course, once you do start, you got to be great at it, and
of
everything
course.
that you're doing, got to just go hard for it.
Of course. Of course. You
Right.
got to I mean, everybody starts somewhere.
Right.
Even Fuente started out. They was a boutique brand at some point, and nobody knew who
Hmm.
they were at some
Right.
point. All of these brands, these large brands, and that's what everything. Nike was a small brand
Hmm.
at some point. You just have to keep on putting in that work, and as you go through the steps, you learn and you get better, and then you
Right.
become great at whatever it is you do, and nobody can take that from you. Nobody can take what you've learned from you, and you can take that and apply that to just about anything.
Right, absolutely. You're absolutely right. That I mean, that goes back to even the story of Fubu about how even with
Right.
how he even got started in his business by, just somebody that was just took the chance on him and had wore his hats, I believe on
Hmm.
what was it a Gap? It wasn't
It
Gap.
was it was LL Cool J. See,
Right.
I read his book, The Power Broke, and I've listened to that Damon John's book, and I've listened to their story. They've told the story all over, and I listened to it
Mm-hmm.
because it's inspirational, right? It shows that if you put in the work, you can do it. Um,
Right.
they just went to a set and gave LL Cool J some Fubu stuff.
Right.
LL Cool J start rapping about Fubu in a Gap commercial.
Right, that's what I'm
I mean,
saying. It's like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be promoting our stuff and you promoting somebody else's stuff.
exactly, and they had no idea.
Right.
That commercial should have never aired like that. Wait a minute, wait a minute.
Right, right. So
I mean,
anything's
that's
possible.
crazy. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. And if you get your cigar in the hands of the right person, and they
Hey,
say it on a talk show, they say it on TV somewhere. Guess what? You ain't gonna be able to keep inventory.
right. Hey,
You know,
listen, that's the goal.
and hey, it's celebrities that smoke cigars all over the country.
Right,
You don't
right.
you don't ever see them until it's like they never have a cigar in their hand, and then one day you just happen to see them at a cigar event with a cigar and be like, I knew you smoke cigars. What you scared of?
Uh-huh.
Put it out there. Put
Put
it
it
out
out
there.
there.
Because we need it, because there's a war on us, and we need
Right, right,
it.
right.
We need to know you smoke
Absolutely,
cigars. You know?
absolutely.
So been smoking for 4 years. So I'm sure you've heard all of the different myths, I guess, or old head advice. All of the weird things that people say. What's one of the things that one of the cigar myths or some old head advice that you've gotten that made you roll your eyes?
Um, honestly, I wouldn't say that I would know about what would be good and what would be bad as far as like advice from like cigars.
Hmm.
Because honestly, a lot of the stuff that I've heard, well, some of the things that you hear is about, as far as like it not really affecting your health, but I don't, I mean, I don't really necessarily know. I don't know. I've heard some great things about cigars. I'll say that.
Well, that's
As far as
good.
like this,
You've been around the right people.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was like, I've heard. So I even just recently heard some great things. I think one of the guys were telling me that it's good to, like the cigars with cedar wood, because the cedar wood,
Yeah.
yeah, takes it actually can change your palate. So, that's like
Hmm.
some of the things that I didn't know when it came to cigars, because at that particular time, at that particular lounge, they actually lit their cigar with, that's what they like their cigars with.
Hmm.
So I mean, a lot of things that I've heard were just like, I don't know, I haven't really heard about the different myths. What have you heard?
Oh man, I've heard you can't light a cigar with a big lighter, which I mean, to some people it makes sense. They say because the fuel will you'll taste the fuel in the cigar, but if you go to a factory, they use big lighters. I've heard that you're supposed to dip the tip of your cigar in the whiskey, and why, if I'm drinking the whiskey, I don't need to
Oh,
dip
so
it.
yeah, I heard those things, but it's like, oh, yeah, I didn't know that that was a bad thing.
I mean,
So,
it's not bad. It's just one of them things that old guys do. You know, I
right.
I'm drinking the whiskey. I don't need to dip my cigar in it too. You know, but I've heard
That would be to further infuse it. That's what I've heard. That would kind of just like dip it
well,
inside of the
I don't
whiskey.
need to. I don't need to infuse it. I want the cigar, and then I
Right.
want the whiskey. It's two completely different things. You know.
Yeah. Definitely
Speaking
have
of
heard
whiskey,
that.
get a little sip.
Right. Right.
Okay, fantasy time. You get to smoke your cigar with anyone, dead, alive, fictional, whatever. Who is it, and what are y'all talking about?
Hmm. Um. Whew, Rick Ross.
Mm, okay, okay. What y'all talking
um.
about?
Probably everything.
Hmm.
Um. And I'm probably saying Rick Ross because it's more physical attributes and what than anything.
Well, it's a question. It's a fantasy question as
So if we're
well.
talking about me as far as like getting advice, I mean, honestly, out here in the industry, of course, I wouldn't necessarily say like, of course, like, you got people like that are in power, which are like Jay-Z. Um, oh my gosh, I can just name a few, and I'm trying to think off the top of my head real quick. Um, even with um, I don't know. I'm so sorry. I can't even really think real clearly, but I can come back to that question.
Okay, we can
But off
circle
the
back
top
to
of
that
my
one.
head, I know it would be Rick Ross. And we could talk about cars. I like cars. We can have a conversation about cars and the car shows. Yes.
Well, that's an answer.
Right.
That's an answer. That's an
We could talk about cars. I love talking about I love cars. So we definitely talk about cars. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. For me, it changes. It changes depending on how I'm feeling at any given point. Um,
Right.
I think right now I would want to have a conversation with Carmelo Anthony.
Okay. Why
Uh,
Carmelo Anthony?
just because the way he moves in business, I just want to pick his brain about the way he moves in business. So that's the only reason.
And
Yeah.
another good person also, being that you say that 50 Cent is actually a pretty good
Hmm.
business person as well. Um, even
That's
just
one
to
of the
think
people who I didn't know smoked cigars
oh,
until I seen him post a video and he happened to have a cigar in the video. I said, "Come on, now,
oh,
just put it out there, man. Just put it out there.
just put it out there that you smoke cigars.
Just
Yeah.
put it out there. It's
Yeah.
okay."
I think that his I mean 50 Cent is actually pretty, I mean, as far as like his business mindset, because even he has books. I've read some of the books, and
Hmm.
I mean, as far as like the shows and things that you're doing, because you think about, and also you think about even with Ice Cube, these types of
Yeah,
people that are
yeah,
like rappers that you just would not think that, as far as they're using um their tools and their even their creative sense and creative minds to expand on different things and not just be just related to just music, and they're just expanding it out to other things that you just would not even
right.
just think that they would do sorts of things. So
Yeah,
those types of people are also inspiring, and you can just kind of, I admire
definitely.
those types of people. Yeah.
Because who would have knew that Ice Cube would have children's movies? I'd have
Right.
never thunk it myself.
Right, 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 right. Yes. It's like all of these things that you would think that they just would not, these are like hardcore people that you would not think that they would have these types of things going on. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, those are, yeah, yeah. I think when they started in their careers in hip hop, I never would have thought that they would pivot into like basketball. Who knew
Right,
that he would have that Ice Cube would have a basketball league? Who knew that 50 Cent would be building this gigantic movie studio
right.
in Louisiana? Who knew that? Who could have
Mhm.
who could have said that? You could,
Never saw it
so
coming.
I definitely understand them. Put them on my list too. Put them on my
Right.
list too.
We just thought
Okay.
that 50 Cent was going to continue to be hanging, from the, was it the bar that he had? He
Yeah,
was hanging
yeah.
up
Hanging
and
upside down
singing
from
music
stuff,
upside
rapping.
down, singing music. Right. Never
Right.
thought he would be doing anything other than that. But hey,
At
hey,
all. At all. But
right,
people pivot and I like it. I like the pivot for both of them. I really
right,
like that pivot. So
right.
this part of the interview, I like to name this part the work because it's a these questions here, they're for you, but they're also for other people who might be starting businesses, to kind of help them get through hard times. So
Mhm.
the first part of this would be, um, talk about the sacrifices that you've had to make and the obstacles that you faced in pursuit of building and growing your brand.
Um, of course, definitely a lot of sacrifices. Of course, money wise, of course, that's, financial situations are always a thing, because you
Mhm.
honestly, at the end of the day, I'm not a rich person. So,
Yeah.
a lot of things that you have to say, you know what? Do I really want to take everything out of my savings and really do this? And
Hmm.
you just make that sacrifice, because at the end of the day, what they say, scared money don't make money.
Yeah, money
So,
don't make no money.
so, you gotta just, believing in yourself in those types of situations. Before, you probably was able to just like, I don't know, do certain things. A lot of things I would say right now, I haven't really been able to just like say it's been a sacrifice, but I will say that as far as starting any kind of business, you got to believe in yourself, and you got to believe that you can do it, because at the end of the day, you never know what you're good at until you try.
Right.
So if it's anything out there, and I tell anybody, whatever it is that you're thinking, go ahead and put that thought into motion, because you never ever know where it will go. So um even with anybody, I'm like, okay, if it's a pencil, you feel like
Hmm.
you're not into sales. I mean, you never know unless you try it. You just never
Right.
know unless you try. And if you're thinking about it, just go ahead and just do it, because a lot of times you may pitch your idea to people, and people may say, "No, I don't think that that's a good thing." But at the end of the day, you got to believe in yourself, because a lot of people are not going to believe in you like you believe in yourself. So you got to keep pushing and got to keep doing it. So honestly, I have experienced that a lot of times. I may have said, "Hey, I want to." do this, but a lot of times there's a lot of information that you got to keep to yourself, because once you do tell, sometimes you can tell somebody something and they can deter you from your decision
Right.
and make you feel a certain way about the decisions that you're actually making. So a lot of times it's kind of just it's good to keep it to yourself. But if you fail, it's okay as long as you don't stay there. Because a lot of times there's no failure, there's no success without failure. You gotta fail. A lot of times, even I have children, so I also let my kids know that as well. Um, the best thing about failing is knowing how to get back up and keep going once you do fail. Always
Right.
got to know that um there's more than one way to get to the answer nine. Um,
Right.
not
Right.
always 5 plus 4. It's not always 7 plus 2. There are other ways that you can do certain things. So and now we're in a time where we wasn't back in the day. There are so many things that are we have so many resources out here for us now than what we did back in the day. It's just not it wasn't as resourceful back in the day as it is now. We have
Yeah.
access to so many resources.
Yeah.
So
We got pocket computers.
right.
Teachers used to say you're
Never
not going to
looked
have
at
a calculator in your pocket, so you got to learn the Pythagorean theorem.
Look, I
Pythagorean
never looked
theorem.
at it like that. Pocket
But
computers.
we got these computers in our pockets. We can do it. Look, we can do anything with these things. We can find anything.
Right.
You know,
Right.
we can
You're
find
right.
anything. All you got to
Absolutely.
do is look it up.
Right. You're
You know,
absolutely right. That's it. That's all you got to do is just do your research.
that's
That's
all you
it.
got to do. That's all you
Just
got
do
to
your
do.
research.
And I like when you were saying that you learn from the failures, because I don't look at failures as failures. I look at them as lessons, because it teaches you which way to go. You know,
Right.
like you said, trying to get the nine. I went 7 plus 2, but I ain't make it. So let's go 3 times 3.
Right.
See if I ain't make it that way. Well, let's go 10 minus 1. There's so many ways to get there. You just have to find the way,
Right.
find the route where the doors open for you. And the doors are gonna open if you keep looking and you keep putting in that work. You know.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You'd be surprised, honestly. There are so many, there are so many individuals out in the world that don't understand that there are more than one way. There's more than one way to solve a problem.
Right.
Sometimes it's like, okay, this right here is happening, so it has to be it. There's no other way. But I feel like this: if it's a problem, it can be solved. So, and that's
Definitely.
how I kind of look at life. That's why a lot of the things that come my way, not to say that I don't have any problems or issues, but to have that mindset to know that, if it's a problem that it can be solved, you can figure out other ways to do things. It doesn't always have to be that way.
Right.
So,
Right.
and that's honestly how I've been with this cigar business. I started out with one person, and honestly, this is like the fourth person that I went through. So, yeah. So, and didn't just let that one person just stop me and say,
Hmm.
"Hey, this is just it." I don't know. I just you just got to keep going.
Yeah. Definitely. You definitely have to keep going. Speaking of, you just have to keep going. Was there ever a time when you wanted to not keep going?
Yeah, honestly, I do feel like a lot of time, um, God pushes me a lot of times to keep going. There have been so many times that honestly I've said, I don't know if this is what I'm really supposed to be doing, and then all of a sudden, something will just come to me, and I listen. I always say that, not to bring spiritual things into it, but
Nah, nah.
I'm a
Please
spiritual,
do. Please do.
I'm a spiritual person,
As am
and
I. Please do.
yeah, and you got to believe, and believe in God and believe in the things that, because a lot of the times if you don't trust and if you don't believe, then you're not going to succeed. So
Exactly.
that is the absolute thing. So a lot of the times when I say that, I said, God, I think that this is what you really want me to do, because I honestly, before cigars, I was really into just really wanting to get back into the entrepreneur thing because COVID kind of just stopped me
Uh-huh.
and put a stop to I was even thinking about doing like pressure washing. I didn't stick with that. So I was like, I was like, okay, God, you must have said that this is not your thing. So
Right.
honestly, but yeah, I've experienced that. I've went through that quite a few times. But I felt like when you have a strong faith, and honestly, I tell people this all the time. You honestly, you have to believe just because it's not going the way that you may feel like it is, but you just have to listen. You have to really listen and pay attention to a lot of things, and you just got to believe that
Definitely.
all it takes, what they say, is just a little bit of a mustard seed. It doesn't
A
take
mustard seed. That's all it takes.
it doesn't take a lot of it doesn't take a lot. You just got to believe. But yeah, just going back to that, yes, I have experienced that quite a few times. Even honestly, I probably not even you probably the first person I've even ever told that I experience these things going through this. And I think that with any business, you're
Mm.
gonna question yourself about a lot of things and
Right.
question like, okay, is this what I'm doing? And not that you're gonna do everything right. You're gonna mess up some things.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I do.
So what was it that changed your mind
About
about quitting?
honestly, like I said, it may have happened. It came across my mind. One and honestly, probably like maybe several hours later, something happened. I can't even
Right.
really explain it, but things happen
Oh
to
no, trust me.
where
I understand. I understand.
it just happened. And it's just like, I'm like, should I really be doing this? And then all of a sudden something will happen. It's like, you know what? Yeah. I don't know why I was thinking about this, but
Let me
then
go on and continue this. I
right,
hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. I got
right.
it. I hear you.
Right. So yeah, but then again, we're human. We're not robots. We're
Right.
human
Right.
beings. Things are we're we're not really designed. Although we want everything to always work out, that's just not how life is.
Right.
It's
Right.
not like that. It's gonna rain, but eventually the rain stops. So that's just honestly, that's just how it is. And yep. Then honestly, I guess that's how I keep pushing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you gotta blindly follow. You gotta blindly follow when God
Right.
tells you to do something. I mean, think about if Abraham wouldn't have left his entire family and everything he knew, and picked up his wife and went where God told him to go.
Right.
Well,
Right.
when God told him to go, because he didn't tell him where to go. He just said,
Right.
"Go."
Go.
He just said, "Go."
Right.
And the disciples, he called what was it, Matthew, out of the tax place. Hey, follow me. He left all the money. He left
Right.
everything behind. He said, okay,
And believed.
you
Right.
got to believe and blindly follow. You have to.
Right.
That's the only way.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way to make it. That's the only way to make it.
Right.
So, what has been the best part of your journey?
Um. Honestly, doing something that I didn't think that I could do.
Mm,
Um.
proving yourself
Um.
wrong.
Huh.
Proving yourself wrong.
Right. Like okay. Even just getting out here, I'm like, okay, well, just that I would say that that's the best part. Honestly, getting out here, I never thought that I would be sitting here doing an interview with you. Uh, so
Me?
yeah, I
I'm
mean,
just
hey,
little old me.
we're gonna be big together though.
Right, right.
So just getting, honestly connecting with people that I just didn't see myself connected with. I didn't know that I would be doing these kinds of things. But just like I said in the beginning, that's what cigars do. They kind of just bring that connection with people. So no, so I would say that would be the great thing as far as like meeting people, connecting with people, and just having people to experience, what I experience in life, and I just living
Right.
a peaceful, try to be a peaceful, happy life, and that's just
Right.
what I enjoy.
Right. That's great. I love that. I mean, it that's I have nothing to add to that. That's great. I mean, the journey is the most important thing.
The
You know,
journey,
the
right,
journey is the most important thing. Sometimes you don't realize it when you in it, but
right.
the journey is the most important thing. Um, what are two of your most important principles? They can be in life, in business, or anything. But what are two of your most important principles?
Um, as far as when you say principles, what are you? As far as what exactly?
What are two of your most important ideals, your most important things that you live by?
Well, honestly, like what I was just saying earlier, as far as like one of the things that I live by, if it's a problem that it can be solved. So honestly, that's one of the definitely things that I live by. And honestly, just I can go on and on to more than just two things. One of the things that I always say is that your attitude determines your altitude in life.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's just, about, the relationships that you have with people. And I wouldn't say that, I try to make sure that I'm a kind person to everybody, but at the end of the day, I'm a human being.
right,
So things will, irritate you because of that. But at the end of the day, I feel like I'm going to do everything that I need to do while I'm here on earth, and that is my thing is that, hey, at the end of the day, I feel like everybody has this what once we and people don't like to talk about the end, but everybody has that day where there's going to be somebody that stands before you and going to tell your story.
right, right.
I'm sorry, this
That's
car.
okay. That's okay.
Um, so there's gonna be somebody that's always gonna stand. That every single person in this whole entire world, there's gonna be somebody that's gonna stand before you and tell your story. What is that story that you want people to tell about you when your day comes? So that is how I live my life.
That's a
I
great
want
way to
people
live
to
your
be
life.
able to tell a story. You may not tell me this to my face today, but at some point, you're going to be able to
You
say,
gonna
you're
say
going to be able to tell my
it.
story. You're going to tell
Right.
what I've done and how I've impacted your life. You may not tell me today, but that's okay. One day you'll be able to tell the world about it. So that's how I
Right.
live my life.
That's
Yeah.
great things to live by. Great things to live by. So what would be some advice that you would give to anyone who is starting their own cigar brand?
Um, I would honestly say, honestly to be open and to
Mhm.
honestly listen. um you a lot of the times you really can't just take a lot of things personal. You really Some things are personal, but you just really just can't really just take it, how it
Yeah.
is. Not everybody's going to be not everybody's going to be willing to want to help or support. At the end of the day, you just got to keep moving. um just like I said, just take advice. A lot of things that I have now and will continue to have is because I'm listening to
Mhm.
people and I'm taking the advice. I don't proclaim to know everything about the business, but that's how you learn. You sit and you listen and you take the advice. Honestly, be patient. Sometimes I may not have a lot of patience. So you just gotta definitely patience. It is a thing, but then again, hey, if you see something and just go for it. You got to work hard at it. Definitely got to work hard at it. Like I said, just honestly, just do it. Not to take anything to the point where somebody tells you that you can't do it. Do
Mhm.
it and prove it to yourself that you can do it.
Right. Right. I like
Yeah.
to say you're either gonna prove yourself right or wrong.
Right. Right. You're
So
absolutely right.
you might as well do it for yourself before you prove somebody else right or wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And honestly, me, I just, I don't know. I've always just kind of just like doing different things. Um,
Hmm.
I mean, outside of cigars, I box. So I just do no. So so I do so I do just do I like to do just like different I don't know. I just like to do different things. But that's why I said don't always we don't it's like sometimes with people and not necessarily all cultures, you're kind of in this box and say, well, okay, uh, it's okay to step outside that box. It's okay to do different things. It's okay to
Right.
just say, hey, um, just because um, everybody else has been doing this, it's okay to do things different. It's okay to be different than this person or that person. You don't always have to do what everybody else is doing. You can always do something different.
Definitely. You can always do something different. I mean, be yourself. Be authentic to who you
Right.
are. You
Right.
don't
That's
have to
it.
follow you don't follow the crowd. Not
Right.
that you don't follow the crowd. Be yourself
Right.
and be authentic. Stand out.
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong
Right.
with that.
There is
There's nothing
nothing
wrong with
wrong with being different. It is okay, but that is what makes up the world. Difference is what makes it up. Because if we were all the same, this would be a boring world.
that. Oh, it would be so boring. Billions of the same person doing the same thing.
Right.
That's yeah, nah. Nobody wants to live in that. Nobody wants to live in
No,
that.
no. So
So
it's okay to be different. Uh-huh.
yeah, it's definitely okay to be different. Definitely. Where can people find your cigars?
Right now, I have them. I'm promoting them. Like I said, I promoted them in Alabama. There's a lounge out in Alabama called Classic Smokes that's out there.
Mhm.
I don't really I'm still promoting, so I'm out here just trying to get an actual official place, but they can
Right, right.
right now I do have them out in Macon, Georgia. Is a lounge out there called Goldie Cigar Lounge. Also Grown and Sexy Tavern out in Atlanta. Also they can find me. They honestly, definitely, if they wanted to know more information about it, a lot of things are listed on my website, which is www.jlwcigars.com. I stay most of that, everything on there is up to date.
Mhm.
You can definitely follow me on my social media page, which is Instagram, also on Facebook. Both of those are JLW Cigars. So all of that has my information on the website where they can go to find these cigars. But um, I'm doing events. So hopefully I'll be in a city near you doing an event. So then that way I'm still out here grinding it. At some point, I will have an official place where they can. But as of right now, you can visit my website and my social media pages.
Okay, okay. And we can order on the website too?
It's coming soon. It
Coming
is
soon.
definitely
Okay.
coming
Coming
soon.
soon.
Yes,
Coming
yes.
soon.
We are working on um shipping. So we have
Hmm.
to get all of that down. There are
Yeah,
just
all
some
of
things that
the
goes into it.
paperwork and things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we're working on that. That is definitely coming soon. Hopefully in the next month or so, we're working on that. I can't really say, but hey,
Right, right.
we do have information. If they wanted to send us a message, email us, visit the website, even on social media, just let us know. And if you order, we'll get it to you. I can tell you that.
Right. We'll get it to you.
We will get it to you. If you want it, we will get it to you. Definitely.
So what's next for JLW Cigars?
Right now, we're still out promoting. Right now, I'm looking into getting into some events, and that is
Mhm.
just so then that way I can, like we talked about earlier, put in a face with the name,
Right.
making that connection there. Because at the end of the day, a lot of the lounges, you're just really just kind of just speaking with some of the owners or maybe some of the consumers there, but the
Hmm.
events are a lot more important because you can definitely connect with the people there, build a lot more relationships there. So yeah, so right now we're looking into events and not just in one place. um follow me on social media because that is where we'll be listing events and places where we're popping up to promote our cigars.
One, if you want it, we'll get it to you. Two, be looking out for the list of the events on the social media.
Right, absolutely.
Well, Vicky, I thank you for spending some time with me here in the Herfador
Thank
Lounge and
you.
talking about uh, J, uh, JLW Cigars. I can't wait
Right,
to get my hands on some.
you are.
Definitely going
If I gotta
enjoy
personally deliver
those.
it, you're gonna get it.